do give a welcome when the time is right to Abdullah Abdooli, who is the CEO and Managing Director of Al Marjan Island. Also to Shaji Thomas, who's the Executive Director at Destination Tourism and Development at Ras Al Khaimah Tourism Development Authority. Also welcome Dr. Reem Osman, who's the CEO of the Saudi German Hospital and has been since 2013. And a warm welcome too to Olivier Harnisch, who is the CEO of Emaar Hospitality. So, give a very warm hand to all four of our panel, and welcome to you all. Okay, we're talking about what Ras Al Khaimah has to offer and how best to develop it. So, we'll start with you, Abdullah, as you are the MD and the CEO of Al Marjan Island. You've got to give us the pitch. Why should we believe that all of these big hopes and ambitions for this particular piece of territory can be realized over the next 10 years?
Well, Al Marjan Island by itself is the iconic real estate development in the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah.
I'll tell you what, if you don't mind, Abdullah, just try and pull the mic round a bit so it's really... Yeah, there you go. There you go. Try that.
Al Marjan Island is the iconic real estate development in the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah, extending around 4.5 kilometers into the Arabian Gulf, covering an area of 2.7 million square meters. We are targeting 8,000 hotel keys, 12,000 residential units, as well as 600 holiday homes and villas. RAC TDA has an aggressive plan for the government of Ras Al Khaimah to reach 2.9 million visitors by 2025. To achieve that, we need 15,000 additional hotel keys to the existing portfolio all over Ras Al Khaimah, 5,500 currently operational. That's the requirement over the next 7 years. 50% of that will be placed in Al Marjan Island.
Is that running the risk of going too far too fast, overdevelopment?
Well, I don't think so. Actually, there is a gap in the market. And today, if we have additional hotel keys, it will be, I mean, destinations cannot happen on a fast pace. No, it has to take time. I mean, it's not easy to build a destination. It's not easy to create a place, but we have the enablers that enables us to do so, which is we are really proud about what have happened in Ras Al Khaimah. We have a vision. We have the leadership as well who supports that vision. And we have a commitment from all of the entities within the government of Ras Al Khaimah who supports us in developing that. After all of these, the visitor experience happens.
The question is, do you have the USP, the unique selling point that is going to bring those millions of annual visitors that you want? I want to turn, if I may, to you, Olivier, because you bring a perspective where you look at the Gulf region as a whole. You've got investments all over, you know, obviously huge in Dubai with Emaar. So you're looking in at this particular corner of UAE and you're thinking to yourself, is this really going to speak to people? Is it going to attract the scale of visitor numbers that clearly people here are hoping for? And what is your view?
Well, with the announcement we made today, I think that gives the answer.
Remind us, what investment are you making? Remind us.
Well, we announced an address hotel here on Al Marjan Island, and we'll have further announcements in the near future, which is a testament to how much we believe in Ras Al Khaimah. Look, Emaar Hospitality is at home in Dubai, but we're expanding a lot within the UAE. And I think it's a real opportunity because I've been in Dubai only just over a year. One of the challenges we face is that, to be honest with ourselves, outside, a lot of people associate the UAE with Dubai.
Yeah.
To them, UAE is synonymous with Dubai. However, us living here know how rich this country is in terms of diversity. And I think Ras Al Khaimah has a great opportunity to complement the other Emirates, such as Dubai. So let's look at the landscape, for example, the mountains that are a couple of hours away from here. The authenticity that you can find here in Ras Al Khaimah. So in difference to Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah has about 70% Emiratis, local population, right? In Dubai, it's the exact opposite. So I think there's a lot of complementarity, a lot of arguments that really convince travelers to come to Ras Al Khaimah. I think one mistake we should not make is to emulate Dubai. Maybe we can emulate Dubai in its strategic approach, because Dubai has shown that it has taken a strategic approach to tourism. But Ras Al Khaimah stands for its own, with its USPs.
You mean, and I'm putting this crudely, but a bit less bling and a bit more authenticity?
Well, you can, I don't know if that's the right...
I don't know if you're familiar with the English word bling, but it means
yes,
sort of...
you know, I'm half French, and we had a bling-bling president
a
few years ago. So
yeah, your bling president may end up in jail, so we don't want to be too bling, but Dubai is definitely be a bit bling.
Well, you know, I mentioned the authenticity and the landscape, but you know, there's more to it. There's the accessibility with the airport and the infrastructure. I think what is important also, and this is something that Ras Al Khaimah is developing, is activities, right? So it's good to be endowed with natural beauty, but when it comes to repeat visitors, activities, an activity calendar is critical, and this is something that is being developed, personnel, services. So let's make sure that we have hotels, services that appeal to a wide segment of the traveling population. So millennials, mid-market hotels,
I'm hearing
but
a lot
also luxury
I'm
hotels.
hearing a lot about these niches, particularly the millennial and the mid-scale niche, and you definitely think Ras Al Khaimah has got to be part of that.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Dr. Osman, some, and maybe including myself, when I first saw the panel list, I thought, why is a highly respected medical sort of practitioner, a manager of a key healthcare institution on a panel about the sort of development of Ras Al Khaimah as a tourist destination? So you're going to have to explain to me, is it because of so-called medical tourism, or what's your take on Ras Al Khaimah's future?
I think to build successful projects and successful islands, also with a lot of hotels and big vision, you need also a healthcare to develop and to support it. So our vision actually to come to Ras Al Khaimah was for both sides. As you said, for medical tourism, to attract patients from all over UAE and from the world also, as we are attracting patients currently in our projects in Dubai and Sharjah. But also the other side, we want also to provide the proper healthcare infrastructure that the island and the city need. You are now developing the image of the city and really raising the bar for the hospitality sector. So you also need to raise the bar for the healthcare
Well, that's
sector.
a very good point. I mean, if the plans Abdullah told us about come to fruition, on any given night in Ras Al Khaimah, the population is going to be boosted by literally many thousands of people. And you have to have the infrastructure to cope.
Of course.
Right now, does Ras Al Khaimah have the infrastructure to cope?
It's having and it's developing it. It should come together with the other vision to expand in the hospitality, to attract so many tourists. So also you are attracting so many investors, and these investors will come and they will put their projects and they will bring their staffs and families. So at the same time, you are developing the other infrastructure, healthcare, education, to make sure that people will live in Ras Al Khaimah and will visit Ras Al Khaimah at the same time.
And just briefly on this medical tourism thing, I'm a bit ignorant about medical tourism. Are you telling me that you think thousands of people are going to come specifically to Ras Al Khaimah to have operations, some sort of elective surgeries, and that they'll want to bring their families, and the families will want to stay in nice hotels and make it into some sort of...
Yeah, or the opposite also. The people will come to see the hotels and the resorts at the same time, also will see the hospital and come to be treated. Our vision, my vision for the hospital actually started, I came to visit Al Marjan Island to have a house here. And the minute I saw the island, I told them, no, I want to build a hospital here. Because really it completed my vision for UAE. Currently, our projects in Dubai, in Sharjah, and Ajman, Ras Al Khaimah, as mentioned, it's authenticity. We want to complete. What's missing us in the other projects is the wellness part in our other projects. It's mainly for treatments of patients. When it comes to the rehabilitation part and the wellness part and the recovery for these patients, some patients for critical surgeries, they might go to Europe. You have a lot of rehabilitation centers in Switzerland, in Germany, that they travel for Europe for this recovery after they do their surgery. I don't want to lose these patients. I want these patients to do their open heart surgery, whether in my hospital in Dubai or in other branches, and I want them to come and complete the treatment here in Ras Al Khaimah. And Ras Khaimah have this edge that will help the patient to recover soon and will give them really this advantage of wellness rehabilitation. We are in the hospital, we are planning to have treatment part and wellness and rehabilitation part and focus on the also cosmetology and plastic surgery.
Right, and will you have tie-ups with hospitals? With hotels very close to the hospital? Or
we will have.
Will you build your own or what?
No, hotels will have tie-ups. We leave hotels to its people, and we are the professional in healthcare.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for that. That's fascinating.
Thank you.
Now, Shaji, isn't the big difficulty here, which maybe I'm going to be a little impolite about, is that when people talk about the UAE, they're basically talking about Dubai and maybe Abu Dhabi. You know, these places have a global reputation and they have a global reach. Yep. Now, with all due respect, Ras Al Khaimah doesn't have that. And I don't know how you're going to get it because in the end it is a pretty tiny place. Yep. So you're always going to be in the shadow of these big players within your federation. And that is a problem, isn't it? Nobody wants to be in the shadow.
I beg to differ a bit. So Dubai definitely is going to be that center of the world. And that's how it's been portrayed. And then the brand cachet that Dubai has today, like most of my fellow panelists said, when you say UAE, people often think it is Dubai.
Yeah.
But the proximity to Dubai is what is the USP for us. Borrowing what Olivier said, being an absolute complement to Dubai is what is our USP.
So you work off that relationship by offering what Dubai can't, in a way.
So let me give it to you in perspective. So when we just released today, we released our Q1 results, and then 70% of our visitors are international visitors.
Right.
Now, I can easily give you by the thumb of rule that 90% of these international visitors landed in Dubai. Now, Dubai is our gateway. Now, we have an anecdote internally here that sometimes you reach Ras Al Khaimah faster than you reach Palm Jumeirah from Dubai International Airport.
Is that literally true?
No, we joke about it, but then we make a point, obviously, because it's fantastic highways, gets us to Marjan Island in 45 minutes flat, gets us to most of the hotels in 45 minutes flat. And it is a USP because we are next to a gateway, Dubai. We have the best of airlines flying into Dubai. It connects the whole world. And we are the striking contrast to Dubai. We do not have the tallest building. We do not have the largest mall, but we do have an accessible desert, which is 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
We've got a mountain. We've got 64 kilometers of beach. So
that's true. The problem is that if you're selling Ras Al Khaimah as the sort of the natural, authentic, the sort of beautiful, original Arabian sort of paradise, you cannot afford to overdevelop, because once that sort of deserted element and the beautiful mountains, once it's full of hotels and roads and power stations and fancy new hospitals offering cosmetic surgery.
Only one.
Well, right. Anyway. But once you start filling in the space, it's no longer the authentic thing that you're trying to sell in the first place.
let me give you to you in perspective. So in 2016, we launched our short-term and long-term strategy, in which Abdullah kind of alluded to. So we wanted to reach 1 million arrivals from tourists in 2018, which we are on track. We will receive 1 million tourists in 2018. And in 2025, we want to reach 2.9.
I saw the figures, I know. Well,
so for us, we do not want to go leaps and bounds. We do not want to overgrow. We want to grow in absolute reality, keeping in mind the nature, the heritage, history, and obviously the USPs. We want to maintain that because that's definitely going to remain our USPs. The striking contrast to Dubai or Abu Dhabi is going to remain our USP forever.
Right. So I'm just thinking about what I've learned through the course of today. One thing I learned is that all the big investors and the hotel operators, they're all very excited about attracting a more mass market clientele, you know, the so-called sort of mid-scale market. And, you know, the phrase that stuck in my mind was somebody saying to me, Stephen, think about any plane that's coming here. 70 or 80% of the people on the plane are flying economy. And we want them to, you know, spend their money and have an accommodation and a stay here, as well as the 10 or 15 or 20% who are at the front of the plane. But if we're being honest, does Ras Al Khaimah want to keep to the people from the front of the plane, or are you going mid-market and mass scale as well?
So let's put it this way. Before I get into demographics or the medium, there's always been certain markets which have been our traditional top markets. And what we did is we diversified, keeping in mind our strategic growth. So there's always been a market which is classic sun and sands, who have come here to enjoy the pristine beaches. Now we have diverted from that and we are exploring new demographics. So the longest zip line in the world is a classic example. We just
please don't talk about that too much, because I'm going on it and I am getting so nervous.
I won't spoil your surprise, but just to give you an indication, we opened the longest zip line in the world in end of January, and we've already had 5,000 visitors. And these are 5,000 unique visitors who probably wouldn't have come to Ras Al Khaimah. Marginal overlap probably, but then this is a new demographic that we are finding.
Right.
So going back to the number of rooms that's available. So we have 5,500 rooms between 3- and 5-star hotels today. But if we want to reach our strategy of reaching 2.9 million tourists in 2025, we're going to add rooms, and we certainly are going to add rooms across all segments. Now, the demographics that we open is dependent on the products that we bring in, the activations that we bring in, and the new markets that we open.
Yeah.
So that's going to naturally happen.
So Abdullah, the question is, are you, I mean, you're just obviously thinking really about Marjan Island in particular, but are you interested in sort of theme parks and major entertainment centers and, you know, what brings the people in, do you think?
Look, I think that is part of the whole strategy for the tourism, and that is a key element. Being a master planner and architect, that is a key element that is required in order to have a destination. There are a lot of attractions. The zip line is an attraction. There should be others that will attract people to come to Ras Al Khaimah to experience, because right now technology is changing, the time is changing. We as master developer, we have to be creative into our master
Got any
plan.
good ideas for us?
There are a lot of good ideas.
Well, go on, share a couple with me.
Just one thing. When you talk about standing in a shadow, I don't know what you exactly mean, because probably size. But you know, size does not always matter. And when we just compare the dimensions, Dubai is expecting 20 million tourists by 2020.
Yeah.
Here we're looking at 2.9.
Yeah.
Dubai has, I think, 60,000 rooms in development. Here we're talking about 7,000 rooms. So it's a very different dimension. So
Yeah.
I fully agree that it's about creating its own personality and its own positioning, right? The second thing, when it comes to mid-market hotels, absolutely important. Because there's one fallacy. We always believe that the people flying economy stay in mid-market hotels and eat at McDonald's, right? But this is not true. This is not the case. People staying, guests staying in mid-market hotels are not necessarily those who have a lower disposable income, but they make a conscious choice to stay, to spend a lower percentage of their travel budget on accommodation. Because these are the people who are very active, who go out to the mountains, to the desert. They say, you know what, I spent 8 hours in my room just to sleep. I'm not going to spend 50% of my travel budget on a hotel. I'm going to spend 30, and the rest I spend on attractions, etc. So this is not a second-class traveler.
Yeah.
This is as valuable as the one staying in a five-star hotel.
Or more days. They want to stay more days.
Or maybe
also.
more days, yes.
Yeah. And a final thought, and I'm just going to see if there's any questions before we close, but a final thought for you, Dr. Osman. I'm struck that Ras Al Khaimah has a higher local UAE population than most of the members of the Emirates Federation. Do you think local people are truly behind this expansion plan, or do some of them have worries?
No, I think looking at the other experience of the Emirates, I'm sure all of them really supporting it because they see how developed other Emirates and how they want from the local, regional to even now global. And I'm sure that Ras Al Khaimah also will reach that with the vision of its leaders and with the support of everyone and for the trust of the local, of the residents, and also for us as investors. I'm sure we can reach whenever we want.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
We're all extraordinarily positive panel, which is good. It'd be a problem if you weren't, frankly. So I'm delighted to hear such positivity. Let me just see, given that we've got an audience we're all enjoying being in Ras Al Khaimah. Some of you may be investors, you may be operators, or you may just be people consulting in the business or whatever. Anybody got a question that's specific to any of our panel on Ras Al Khaimah and the future here and the development of the destination here? If you do, now, good, sir. We'll get a microphone to you. Just bear with us.
Terence Baker, Hotel News Now, STR. Does any of this include development to the actual city of Ras Al Khaimah, or is that kind of being left on its own and the developments are outside?
Development of the city of Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah, is this are you developing the city itself as well as the beach resorts and?
Al Marjan Island, as a master developer, we look after all the freehold land bank all over the government of Ras Al Khaimah. So we are not just working in the Al Marjan Island.
Okay.
However, we are working on multiple areas as a freehold land bank for the government of Ras Al Khaimah.
What's the plan for the urban area of Ras Al Khaimah?
There are some new developments that will target the affordable middle class segment, for example, housing. There is a new downtown to be created. There is also employees, not camp, but at residential compound.
Don't call it a camp.
Yeah. So that's what we are looking to have a different offering rather than.
Okay, so that's so I don't know, what is the population of Ras Al Khaimah city?
350,000.
What's you know, because we've spent all this time talking about the number of visitors and beds, but what is the vision for the increase in population, the urban population? Where would it get to?
Look, the reason behind that is to just grow the city within the Ras Al Khaimah offers a lot of opportunities, job opportunities for people, and it's the normal growth for
Is it going to go to
destination.
500,000 more? Does anybody have you got a vision, a number?
My friend,
It is. Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
500,000. I know.
Half
We probably wouldn't be able to delve on that now. You took us
You're
by
looking
surprise
at me
there.
like I'm supposed to know. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. But it's just part of this whole thing about how you get the balance right. You develop and you know, frankly, monetize everything that this place has for potential, but you don't do it too far so that you actually either overstretch resources or you begin to spoil the ambience that you're trying to sell in the first place.
But you have need in the local market also.
Sure.
You are talking only about international tourists that they will come.
Now I'm talking
and
about
actually, the authenticity also and of the Emirates itself and the city. Now, a lot of our friends who are living in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, in Sharjah, they want to come here and spend the weekend here or have a flat here for the weekend. It's really attracting the local market.
Right, that's an interesting point.
And really, this is another advantage for the city.
Yes. Right. Anybody else got a question? Because we are pretty much out of time, but is there one more? Ah, yes. You're going to have the last question, sir, so go ahead.
Yes, I'm architect and work for the Saudi German group.
My question is more of an observation, not a question exactly. Like, as architects or planners would think, I'm relatively new to the area, about 1.5 years, but we've been, as a family, trying to move around on the weekends and find places to find something new. So I think as a strategy, the best approach normally is to have a whole policy for the whole region to develop evenly. So what I've observed is like Ras Al Khaimah, it's my probably second visit or third, very attractive. So I would like say that big stakeholders. So if we have a good policy which we have for the whole region, like when we go to Fujairah, we find something, we find something, and we've developed this region on a uniform pace so that it is not centralized on a few areas. So I hope as stakeholders, overall there could be something like this, that it's a uniform development.
I don't know which of you would like, but just one of you comment on whether, frankly, there's enough joined-up thinking in UAE so that, you know, that the balance is right between the investment and the development of different parts of the federation. Who would like to take that on?
I will take it.
Go on.
I think it's, there is the governmental agenda that we all agree, and all of the UAE is working underneath. And that's why you can see, I mean, Ras Al Khaimah have a niche in some element. Dubai has a niche in another element. Abu Dhabi is the capital and the political power of the UAE and has its own prestigious place. So I think there are different complementary offering in the whole region in the UAE. Abu Dhabi is different than Dubai.
Right.
Dubai is different than Ras Al Khaimah. Ras Al Khaimah is different than Fujairah. Each of the cities or the emirate has its own unique identity. And that's why we are really proud as Emiratis. I mean, today we have a vision that we work together as one country.
Good. Well, that's a nice, positive note to end on. Ladies and gentlemen, please give my special Ras Al Khaimah panel a very warm hand. Thank you, panelists, very much indeed. Thank you. And may I ask you elegantly to depart the stage, because I'm then going to have to introduce my next panel. Thank you so much. Thanks.